Tommy Robinson warns Bourke Street terror attack is Australia's future. Look, it has anti-Islamic activist Tommy Robinson there, but that's just trying to muddy the waters. But anyway. So he's one of the most controversial figures in the UK and faces calls for his trip here to be cancelled. But he has a warning for Aussies. And this is what we've been saying for quite some time. But, you know, hey, yeah. At least he's amplifying our voice, I suppose. Controversial anti-Islam activist Tommy Robinson has warned incidents like the Bourke Street attack will be Australia's future as long as the country is led by coward politicians. Somali-born Islamic terrorist Hassan Kerafsur Ali, I might be mispronouncing, drove a burning ute loaded with gas bottles into the Melbourne city centre on the afternoon of November 9th. He then launched a knife attack, seriously injuring 2 people and murdering 74-year-old cafe owner Sisto Misapaiba, might be mispronouncing, before being shot dead by a rookie police officer. And I fully suspect that police officer should get a medal. But anyway, the latest, it later emerged that 30-year-old's passport was cancelled by federal authorities in 2015 over fears he would try to go to Syria to join Islamic State. But the information was not shared with Victoria Police. So in other words, they're trying to pass the buck. Why don't we just deport these guys? But anyway. This week, 3 Melbourne men were arrested and charged with allegedly planning Islamic-inspired terror attack. Police believe 30-year-old Erid Hamana, might be mispronouncing, 26-year-old Sami Alula, might be mispronouncing, and 21-year-old Hasef Hassin, I might be mispronouncing, intended to open fire on a Melbourne crowd with semi-automatic rifles to, quote, kill as many people as possible. Well, thank God we have those new gun laws that have been around for like 10, 15 years. That gets rid of all firearms. Hey, right, America? That's what you keep saying? But anyway. Quote, this is your future, unfortunately. That Australia's future as long as you're led by weak, coward politicians, Robinson told news.com.au in a phone interview this week as he awaited determination on Australian visa for speaking tour next month. If he gets approved, I will be going and watching. One of the men arrested, I believe, was prevented from going to join ISIS. So you prevented him from travelling aboard to commit terrorism and you just waited stand by until he murdered your own citizen. That is cowardly. I would have basically let him go and fight for Islamic State, and when he left the country then cancelled his passport. But anyway. Ali was one of more than 400 high priority potential terrorists being monitored by the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, or ASIO, and was on bail for driving offences at the time of the attack. Well, I know 400 people I would be soon deporting. About 240 Australians have had their passports cancelled on the advice of ASIO to the Foreign Minister. So, presuming it's a different 240, we're up to 640 people we could possibly deport. Well, possibly. He's the enemy combatant. You're in the country on your soil, an enemy of freedom, and the enemy of your nation, and the enemy of your values, Robinson said. Preaching to the choir, mate, you really, really are. We know this, that they're just gutless. He should not be free to roam the streets at all. I totally agree. Put him on a plane. Deport him. When we understand that there is a war going on and there are foreign combatants in your land, then maybe you'll get somewhere to start maybe you'll get somewhere to start dealing with them. I think he means someone to start dealing with them. But anyway. He said that the United Kingdom has seen 4 successful and 10 prevented terror attacks in the past 12 months. That's where my country's at, Robinson said. Of course, I'm not saying it's all Muslims. Of course not. It's not every single one of them. What I'm saying is that there is a problem with Islam. The real orthodox set of Islam are flourishing. Wahhabism, Sufism, the liberal voices within Islam are being shouted down and beaten down. They're being murdered and prosecuted across the world. Robinson's real name, which is obviously there, I'm not going to read it out, I'm not going to help dox him, even though it's commonly known, is the former leader of the English Defence League and the most prominent anti-Islam voices in the UK, where he has had frequent run-ins with authorities because they tried to silence him. By the way, Tommy Robinson was right 30 odd years ago, 10 odd years ago, whatever, when he tried to raise awareness around the Rotham grooming gangs. You know, the thing that recently has gone to court and 400 or so people were charged with, that was the same thing that Tommy Robinson has tried to raise awareness of over the past how many years. And all he has had is people try and arrest him, charge him, or do slander campaigns. How about you start putting out a paper saying hashtag Tommy Robinson was right? Because I tell you what, the UK owes Tommy a bloody big thank you. Because that poor bastard has had so much shit thrown at him because of what he has been saying, and he has literally been vindicated by the courts. But anyway. Earlier this year, the 35-year-old spent 2 months in jail after being sentenced for contempt of court for live streaming outside a grooming gang trial. Yes, he was reading the newspaper and quoting on the information that was in that newspaper. But the BBC has not been arrested. It's funny how they've only seemed to have gone after one person, isn't it? But anyway. He was released on bail in August and ordered to face a retrial with the judge, then referring the long-running case to the Attorney General to determine whether it should be dropped. He announced last month that he would join the Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes, who co-founded Vice, on a tour of Australia in December, organised by Penthouse magazine, to thank his Aussie supporters, intensifying calls for the government to deny the visa for the pair. McInnes' planned visit already had generated controversy, with Labor and the Greens wanting the immigration minister to express their concerns and petition calling for him to be banned, attracting tens of thousands of signatures. Earlier this week, The Guardian reported McInnes' far-right men club had been listed as an extremist group with ties to white nationalism by the FBI. Yes, according to the FBI now, the Proud Boys are far right. But anyway. By the way, the Proud Boys also has people of different races and colour and everything in it. So I don't know how they're a white nationalist group. But apparently the white nationalists now aren't real picky about being white nationalists. You know, work that one out. So Proud Boys members regularly engage in street brawls with members of the left-wing extremist group Antifa, who are also classified by the Department of Homeland Security as domestic terrorists, mainly because they turn up to the Proud Boys event to try and pick fights. You know, it's weird that the Antifa keeps wanting to turn up to the Proud Boys events. But, you know, moving along. In a video on Wednesday, McInnes announced that he was quitting the Proud Boys in all capacity forever, in response to legal advice that it would help severe sentencing for members facing assault and riot charges in New York. In a statement to news.com.au, Australian Federation of Islamic Council President Dr. Rabi Jadi said both Robinson and McInnes have a clear history of inciting hatred and vilification of minority communities. Yeah, let's talk about your extremist element once again, can we? Let's talk about that hatred. The presence of the individuals will not do anything other than cause division and disharmony in our community, and Australia does not need this, Dr. Janice said. How about Australians tell you what Australia needs, mate? Not you. We believe the Australian government should not allow either of these people to enter the country where their sole reason for being here is to cause harm or society of our society. Look at that. Islam is already trying to tell people what we should or should not have in Australia. How about Australia tells you who we have in our country? Mate, thank you very much. Robinson said he still doesn't know whether his visa would be approved. I don't know. That's the million-dollar question, he said. Quote, I'm not sure when I'll find out. Soon, I guess. They say I'll be waiting on the last couple of things. I gave my information a couple of weeks ago. He said he said Australia allowed Islamic preachers into the country, which is true, we have in the past. Quote, I don't preach intolerance, I preach tolerance. I preach integration, not segregation. I preach gay people's rights, not homophobia. And you allow many Islamic preachers in who stand completely against all those values by promoting Islam, Robinson said. Quote, it's easy to oppose someone like myself. You'll probably have politicians queuing up to oppose me coming to your country, so time will tell. I suppose we'll find out how much Australia values freedom of speech. The Australian Affairs Department does not comment on individual cases, but says all non-citizens entering Australia must meet the characteristic requirements set out in the Immigration Act of 1958 to obtain visas. For visitors who may hold controversial views, they risk they may pose will balance against Australia's well-established freedom of speech and freedom of belief, among other relevant considerations, a spokesman said. The character requirements include having no substantial criminal record, defining a term of imprisonment for more than a year as a good general behaviour. Robertson has multiple criminal convictions and has served prison sentences for assault, mortgage fraud, and illegally entering the US using a false passport. So the mortgage fraud wasn't even his. It was actually like a friend that he co-signed for. The assault, as far as I know, it's more that he got into a scuffle because someone attacked him. So, typical unbiased opinion here. He argues many of his convictions were the result of political persecution, which I would agree with. Since forming the English Defence League, I've had the full weight of the establishment thrown at me, he said. Look at the fact that he was thrown in jail for a few months. And then when they went through and reviewed the case, they're like, holy shit, this is a kangaroo court, and they released him on bail, only to try and retry him. Like, hey, there's no conspiracy here. We're just going to let this guy out on bail because we screwed up his original court case so much. But never mind. You've all seen what happened to the most recent court case. I didn't break any laws. I spent 2.5 months in solitary confinement, and I had my conviction overturned because I could spend money to battle it legally with the support of the public. He said if he hadn't received financial support from the public this time, you'd all be reading up on another conviction. Where you go back through my convictions, read the details of them, just don't read the headlines, he's saying. Yeah, don't read anything. Don't believe anything the news tells you when it comes to Tommy Robinson, because it's a lot against him. You'll see I have faced prosecution from the state for voicing my opinions against Islam, and I've matured. I'm a very different man now at 35 than I was when I was 21. Robertson quit the EDL in 2012 after expressing concern of being overrun with neo-Nazis. I despise Nazis, he said. Nazism and Islam are the opposite sides of the same coin. I despise fascism. I despise racism. I found when I was leading the EDL that most of my time was spent battling against them, so I left. Okay, so it just keeps going and going, and this video is already getting pretty long. Look, at the end of the day, guys, what's my view on this? Look, I don't know if he'll be allowed in the country. Legally, there shouldn't be a reason why he would be allowed. But yeah, at the end of the day, I hope he does come, because I'd love to go and hear him speak. Him and Gavin, I was already going to go and listen to Gavin already. I was about to purchase my ticket when I heard that Tommy was also coming, so I've still got to do that. But yeah, I'll be definitely going and listening to these guys and trying to ask a question if I can. But yeah, guys, look, at the end of the day, Tommy, man, if you see this video, good luck to you. I hope you get in the country. I hope we allow you in, and I look very much forward to listening to you on stage. But guys, apart from that, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think that Australia will let Tommy Robinson in? Do you think that they'll try everything to stop him like they did with Lauren Southern and Stefan Molyneux? What are your thoughts? Let me know in those comment section below. If the video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.